I'm GB Hyderson, and I know that some of you at least know me, and others not. I am one of the owners of IcelandX Travel, and so we are kind of starting out in expanding beyond Iceland, and the idea is to kind of come up with original and immersive itineraries um, in the same design essentially as how we do the Iceland tours. And so Alex and I, we have known each other for too many years to really mention right now, and we have been on safaris together, at least in 2 or 3 safari parks and some World Heritage sites. We've tried to tried to rescue French people from being eaten by um, hippos, and we have been charged by elephants, and we have had a flat where there's lions around the car, and so we've done a few things, and we've been working together now for a few years, probably 2 years, to kind of get this one together and try to find really the optimal setting for the first tour to Africa, and I think we found it. And but I'm gonna sit back a little bit and let Alex introduce himself, and maybe start to just kind of lead us into the little slideshow that we have. Which hopefully is informative enough for you to understand what we're doing.
So yeah, hi everybody. Welcome. This is probably one of my least favorite things to do, is talking to people online. Much prefer doing it in person, but yeah, we'll crack on and see how we go. If anybody has any questions during the course of the presentation, just feel free to shout up, and then I'll give you as much information as I can. Okay, right, let's try and crack on.
And by the way, so one note first. So when Alex says zebra, that means zebra.
They're actually 2 different species.
Yeah,
zebra are black with white stripes, and zebra are white with black. Right. Okay. Let's get this screen shared. There might be a slight lag in when I share a screen, so if GB, you can let me know when it transitions, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, click on this full screen. There we go. Okay, so welcome to our zebra migration in Botswana safari. Just to kind of give you a bit of an overview about what the migration is, about Botswana, about the accommodation and the various areas that this safari will take you to. So yeah, first of all, a little bit about me, and there's a picture of me back in Uganda a few years ago. I studied and qualified as a safari guide in South Africa in 2014. I quit my job in marketing and decided I wanted to do something better for my life. So yeah, that's how it all started. Since then, I qualified and worked in numerous places, such as the Sabi Sands in South Africa, Zulu-Nyala, where I met GB and Ivy, various lodges and camps around Kenya, Tanzania. I've worked in luxury camps in Kenya as photographer in residence, helping train their guides on aspects of photography, as well as helping their guests improve their wildlife photography. I've also led safaris throughout Botswana, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Zambia, as well as Borneo in Indonesia. And I'm fortunate enough to be part of the Nikon professional services community. I'm not sure how I got into that, but yeah, they think I'm good enough. So, right, okay, next one. Okay, so Botswana. Botswana is located in southern Africa, so that is south of the equilateral boundary, and it's a landlocked country surrounded by Namibia to the west, Zimbabwe to the east, with Angola to the north, and then South Africa to the south. As you can see, quite a large country in comparison. to what people might expect, as you can tell from the key in the bottom right-hand corner. Some interesting facts about Botswana. It's actually the same size as France, or roughly the same size as France, with a similar population size to Paris. So you can imagine all that empty space, which is vacant for wildlife. It's just phenomenal. Okay, a bit more about Botswana. As you can see, as I mentioned, same size as France. Capital city is Gaborone. It's one of the world's largest diamond producers. Various dialects in Botswana are prevalent, but Botswana is the largest, with almost everyone speaking English. The currency is called the pula, which means rain in local Setswana language. And I can't remember the exact exchange rate, but for US dollars to the local pula is very, very high. Nearly 40% of Botswana has been made into national parks and reserves. This creates huge areas for wildlife migrational corridors, and they can roam freely just as they should do. It's not uncommon for herds of zebra to walk through the middle of a town, but not so much the predators. Occasionally, you might get a pack of wild dogs running through a town called Kasane, which is on the Shobi River in the north. So you never know. Wildlife reigns supreme in Botswana. Botswana actually has the largest populations of elephants in Africa as well. There's roughly 130,000, which is an incredible number. National animal of Botswana is a zebra, and the national bird of Botswana is the Kori bustard, which, interestingly enough, well, for me anyway, the Kori bustard is the largest or heaviest flying bird in the world. It weighs anywhere between 20 and 25 kilos. And Botswana is home to the world's largest salt pans, some of which the safari will take you to, and also the largest inland delta waterway, again, which the safari will take you to. And it's home to the zebra migration. Okay, the next one. Okay, the itinerary for the safari at a glance. On day one, we'd arrive in Maun by air from Johannesburg. Road transfer to the Kumaga region of Mahadi National Park, with an approximate travel time of about 2 to 2.5 hours. So the flight to Maun from Johannesburg will get you into Maun for about 1:30-ish, 2.5-hour drive to camp, and then there's time for an afternoon activity. Days 2 through to 4, we explore Kumaga and the Mahadi, as well as the Boteti River region of Mahadi in search of the zebra migration. Of course, there'll be predators lurking around and other wildlife as well. Day 5, we transfer from Mahadi northwards to Naipan National Park, and we'll be there in time for sunset, dinner around the fire, that sort of thing. It's a full-day game drive, so it's not just a straight line. We'll explore the region as we go, again, looking for wildlife, looking for signs of leopard, cheetah, lion, and anything else we come across. And then during the next couple of days, we'll explore Naipan. It's got some phenomenal opportunities for photography. There's going to be salt pans, vast grass plains, and of course, the world famous Baines baobabs, which in the 1850s or 1860s, I believe, were depicted by a famous artist. And if you quickly Google Baines baobabs, you'll see lots of brilliant paintings, oil works, and things like that about this. These trees, which have largely remained unchanged in the last 150 years, because these baobab trees grow very, very slowly. Then after time in Nai, we'll drive back to Maun, which is about 2.5 hours, for an internal flight to the Okavango Delta and our home for the next few nights, which is at a place called Jumbo Junction. Then after a few days in Jumbo Junction, exploring the Okavango Delta with its various activities, we'll then transfer by air back to Maun, and that'll have you back in Maun for an internal flight, the flight to Johannesburg, and then your onward journey home. Okay, this is a map depicting the route of the safari. So, well, my mouse isn't working on here. So if you look at the circle in the middle where Maun is, that's where you would land into Botswana. And then from there, we would take the roads southwards to the bottom right circle, which is Mahadi Pans, where we'll spend a few days exploring the region. And then from there, drive northwards to Nai, spend a few days there, drive back to Maun, and then that's where we would catch our flight to the Okavango Delta, which is in the top left-hand corner of the map there with the red circle. Flight time from Maun to the Okavango Delta is probably about 40-45 minutes in Cessna Caravan planes. Okay, a bit about the zebra migration. It's the annual movement of zebra between various wildlife habitats, and the migration is made upwards of 30 to 40,000 individual zebra. Now, you might ask, why do they migrate? They migrate in search of food and water. And there's actually two different migrational paths which the zebra take. There's one which traverses from Maremi Game Reserve in the Okavango Delta, and they come all the way down to Mahadi National Park, which is the first stop on the safari. The second migrational route is from the Chobe National Park and along the Chobe River, and these zebra traverse down to Naipan National Park and back again, all in search of fresh food, fresh water, and of course, with these migrating animals comes predators. Lion, hyena, all stalk these zebra, picking off the weak and the sick and the young. When these plains in the southern reaches of Botswana and Mahadi and Nai begin to dry, this is when the zebra migrate north back to Maremi and also Chobe. This is actually one of the largest or longest mammal migrations in Africa. The zebra have been known to travel up to 1,000 kilometers, which is no small feat. Now, why haven't many people heard of the zebra migration in Botswana? This migration stopped in the 60s when veterinary fences were erected around Botswana to stop the spread of foot and mouth disease. And then when this disease was pretty much eradicated, these fences were dropped in 2004, and miraculously the migration started up again. Yeah, and then we'll carry on. Just some images from the migration. So zebras traversing through the long grasses, and then two zebras looking cute together.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a lag, which gives me the opportunity to say that 1,000 kilometers is about 650 miles. So 650 miles, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, do you need me to go back to any of the slides?
No, we're good. We have a picture. We have the picture.
We have a zebra and a zebra.
We have a zebra and a zebra.
A zebra and a zebra, yes, that's correct. Okay, here's just a bit of a recap of the zebra migration and the facts of it. So why they migrate, how many zebra, the two different migrational routes, and yeah, one of the largest mammal migrations after the Great Wildebeest migration, which occurs in the Serengeti and the Masai Mara.
Alex, I'm guessing that the weather's going to be perfect and nothing like Iceland.
It depends on what your idea of perfect is. Night times around this time of year when the Botswana zebra migration occurs, which is around March, nighttime you'll be getting about 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, and in the daytime 30 to maybe 32, 33 degrees Celsius.
Yes,
I apologize for my Britishness there.
Yeah, so high 60s, low 70s nighttime, daytime, kind of comfortable 80s temperature.
No snow.
No snow.
Okay. Right now, whilst we're looking for the zebra migration through Mahadi and Nai, rather than staying in a permanent safari camp or a permanent safari lodge, we'd be using a luxury mobile safari camp. These are impressive feats. It's a nod to the old style safaris, kind of a throwback to the Robert Redford out of Africa kind of environment. These luxury camps are set up in private campsites with large and sweet meru tents, and they're set up in unfenced areas, so wildlife is free to roam in and out of the camp. Sometimes you might get lions through the camp on the nighttime, or hyenas. So if you leave your shoes outside your tent on the nighttime, there's an opportunity that they might not be there in the morning. It has been known for hyenas to steal shoes. And my last safari that I did to Botswana, we were camping in the Kwai area of Botswana, and lions came into the tent and actually chewed on the chef's tent. So we had to chase them away using vehicles, which was not, I mean, the lion, not the chef. We didn't chase the chef away. But yeah, Yeah, lions were chewing on the chef's tent one night, which is just interesting experience for the chef.
We have nice mosquito nets protecting us from the wildlife, right?
I didn't catch that, sorry.
We have some mosquito nets to protect us from the wild.
Exactly, yeah, definitely. So yeah, basically this kind of environment, it's a perfect opportunity for you kind of disconnect from the pace of everyday life. There's absolutely zero mobile phone service, so the only thing your phone's going to be good for is taking pictures. It's an amazing opportunity to slow down, take a breath, and reconnect with nature and something else inside you. Meal times whilst on these luxury camps, the luxury mobile safari camp, they're an absolute treat. You're woken every day as the dawn breaks with coffee, freshly baked pastries, picnic-style breakfasts out in the bush, light lunches back in camp, high tea with fresh cake before heading out on afternoon safaris, and the dinners whilst on safari are phenomenal. Soups, I know you're thinking soup. Okay, soups are boring, but the things these cooks can do with vegetables and whatever to make their soups is it's astounding. What was some of the highlights we had? One night for a starter, we had springbok carpaccio. How they managed to do that in the middle of the wilderness the food there is just unbelievable. You'll be wanting them to write some recipes they can take home, definitely. Excuse me.
I
Okay.
I
Lodge,
feel
as I
like
mentioned,
maybe,
the
Alice, we need to add that
really does give you true feeling of being in a remote wilderness, away from busy crowds, and you'll certainly won't be seeing many of the tourists in the regions that we're exploring. Allows for a more immersive, intimate safari experience with front row seats to spectacular nature. And when you sat around a campfire in a nighttime, that's when it all clicks into place. You just suddenly realize that being where you are and the remoteness of where you are, it's something that will stir within your soul. I can't really put it into too much words. Just when you sat around the fire with a glass of wine or a cold beer and you're looking up at the stars, lions roaring in the background, it paints an idyllic picture, and one which you don't really fully appreciate or resonate with until you're there. Then next, if we'll have just a couple of pictures of how the camp could potentially be set up. Let me know when it comes in.
Brilliant.
As that
Yeah,
pops up. Hello, can you hear me?
we can, yeah.
Okay, has it caught up with the camp pictures?
Yep.
Okay, so this is an idea of how the camp could be potentially set up, or how it will be set up. You can see the Meru style tent in the top left. So you'll have like your own outside shaded area, and then in the bottom left is kind of how the camp or your tent might be set up inside. So the floors would be like a ripstop canvas or tarpaulin with comfortable rugs. And then if you look at the green, so you'll have like where the green slits at the top, and then the green material at the entrance. This is mosquito and insect proof. So if you're worried about mosquitoes, there's no real need, because mosquitoes might come out in an evening, but this time of year there won't be many, and the tents will be zipped up for you in the night time. So there's minimal chance of mosquitoes entering your tent. And speaking of which, some people think Botswana is a hotspot for malaria. I've been numerous occasions. This isn't saying to negate what a medical practitioner would suggest, but as far as anti-malarials are concerned and malaria is concerned, it's never been a worry for me. I generally don't take malarials, but again, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying consult your GP and then make your own decision. Okay. Also, as well, if you're wondering how you might wash and shower whilst in this mobile camp, this is done by bucket shower. Bucket showers generally last maybe 7 to 8 minutes, depending on how liberal you are with water. The camp staff will bring heated water to your tent. You'll have an ensuite shower area, and they will hoist the bucket of water up for you and then leave you in your own privacy to shower. And there's definitely enough water to wash your hair. There's no hair dryers though, unfortunately, so towel dry. But yeah, that's generally how the camp is set up. And then you'll have like a communal area. We'll have the fire all set up. So when we return from game drive on a nighttime, sit around the fire, talk about the day's activities, and enjoy a drink in each other's company. Okay, all right. A typical day on safari. Now, generally this starts before dawn. So the camp staff will wake you with fresh coffee, tea, hot chocolate, as well as freshly baked pastries, bread, things like that. They might serve you cinnamon rolls one day. They might serve scones one day. But then if there's something that you prefer over something else, they'll happily make that for you instead. So the reason why we get up so early and we head out as the dawn is breaking is we have a better chance of finding the nocturnal animals, predators mainly. Before the day heats up, these animals will be active and it gives us a better opportunity to find them. Lions might be hunting. Leopards might be hunting. There might be stalking herds of zebra. Then after we've spent a few hours exploring the wilderness, we'll return to camp, have a light lunch. You might want to have a shower at this point, and we can sit down, go through photographs, maybe even do some light editing sessions if you're keen to explore more nuances of photography. Then after a bit of siesta, maybe about 4 o'clock, the group will kind of gather around the mess tent. We'll have high tea. So yet again, there's more food, have a cup of tea, coffee, head out on an afternoon safari. Again, looking for more wildlife, trying to find the zebra migration, and then returning to camp as the sun is setting or just after sunset, where the fire is going to welcome us, have a gin and tonic around the fire whilst dinner's prepared, and then have a relaxing dinner, talking about the day's adventures, and then bedtime. And then the day starts again. Okay, right. Talk a little bit about some of the different areas that this safari will expose you to. It's going to take you through to 3 different areas of Botswana. First of all, to Mahadi and Naipan, which are located more centrally in Botswana. And this is where we have the best opportunity to find the zebra migration. The Mahadi has the Boteti River, which flows through it, which is a magnet for wildlife. There's vast salt pans fringed with grasslands where zebra, wildebeest, and springbok are plentiful. Lions are ever present, with a good opportunity to see the black maned lions, which migrate slightly northwards from the Kalahari. Bird life at this time of year is bountiful when there's water, so you might have the opportunity to see huge flocks of flamingos, pelicans, storks, cranes, and terns. And lion activity generally in this region is very, very high. So seeing lions hunting, it's a good possibility. Naipan, in comparison to Mahadi, is different. Again, there's vast salt pans. There's not as much water. So the animals are forced to congregate around more reliable water sources. Again, this concentrates the predator activity. So there's a good chance that you might see hyena hunting. And yes, hyenas do hunt. They're not just scavengers and evil creatures, as Disney has depicted. And there's a very good chance to see lions here as well. And whilst in Naipan, we'll have an opportunity to go and see the Baines baobabs. Like I mentioned, it's a copse of baobabs which have been around for thousands of years, but were first witnessed by white explorers or the European explorers around the 1850s, around that kind of time. Wildlife that you would see in comparison to Mahadi, they would see in Nai. So you'd see things like bat-eared foxes, oryx antelope, and giraffe and ostrich are plentiful here. Okay, let's crack on. Some images about the zebra migration. So this is an area in Mahadi, not too far away from the Boteti River. So as you can see, there's a large concentration of zebra, and also where you find greenery and water, You'll also find elephants. Some adorable lions.
Yeah, we may be a little bit behind on the pictures. I don't know if it's a lag for everyone. No, we're good. Caught up.
Some lions with their giraffe prize. And then zebras splashing around in some of the pans. Has that come through?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then zebras in golden light. Now, the light in Botswana in various regions for photography, it's breathtaking, especially in the dusty areas and areas where you have the long grasses. First thing in the morning, last thing in an afternoon, when the sun is dropping, you get this beautiful golden light, and it really does make for some amazing opportunities for photography, as you can see.
And we might want to add to that, Alex, that while it's not a photography tour per se, Alex will and has offered to help take pictures throughout the tour and share his reel with us afterwards, which I think is great. And anybody that needs any hints and help and is interested in amateur photography, Alex will be on hand to help with that as well.
I mean, that's not just, excuse me, that'll be both in game drives. So when we're out exploring the region, looking at the wildlife, I'll be on hand to give you in-field mentorship, helping you get the composition right, helping you get exposure correct, just prompting you so you know when key moments are for photography. And then back in camp, if you're interested, we can sit down, go through your images, and then we can kind of work together on editing techniques, as well as ideas for helping you. For example, if I can see that there's areas in your photography that you might think you might need to work on, we can look at the images and say, right, you could improve on this, X, Y, Z, and then you can put those into practice in the next coming days as well. So yeah, just some more images of Mahadi, Hadi, and Nai. Baobabs. Quite striking, really. Okay, then after we leave Nai, this will more than likely be our mode of transport. It might not be this exact plane, but it would be something very similar. A Cessna Caravan, which will fly us from Maun into the Okavango Delta. Now, the Okavango Delta, a lot of the areas there are inaccessible by road vehicle, depending on the water levels. And they're only accessible either by plane or by boat. And to make the journey or the transition from Maun to the Okavango as quick as possible, we take a plane, and from Maun it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. It's an absolutely stunning flight as well. We'll be flying over waterways. You can spot elephants from the air, pods of hippos. Yeah, it really is just a stunning view when you're up there. It really is. And then into the Delta. Now, the Okavango Delta is a wildlife paradise. It's a safe haven for many different species. There's lions, leopards, elephant, buffalo, giraffe, hippos, crocodiles, huge array of antelope, some of which you're not likely to see anywhere else, such as Satunga, red lechwe, and the bird life in the Delta is absolutely staggering. There's well over 500 different bird species of avian life in the Delta. So if birding is your thing, you're going to be in heaven there. You see species such as African fish eagles, malachite kingfishers, pied kingfishers, sacred ibis, tons. The list is endless. And also as well, if we're really lucky, now, has anybody heard of African wild dogs? If not, if we get to see these, you'll be astounded. They're also known as the painted wolf, and they're they are the most endangered predator in sub-Saharan Africa. There's only maybe about 10,000 left in the wild. So if we do get to see a pack of wild dogs, you're going to be exceptionally. Now, the place that we're going to be staying at in the Okavango Delta, it is a place where I know the management team very well. It's a location called Jumbo Junction. Now, it's located in the northern reaches of the Delta, where two major elephant corridors come together, hence the name Jumbo Junction. Their location is a very privileged one. Because they're so high up in the Delta, they're some of the first to receive the life-giving floodwaters which come down all the way from Angola. So when Angola gets heavy rains, the floodwater comes southwards into Botswana through the Delta and then spreads out almost as far as Mount. And when these floodwaters recede, they're also the last to say goodbye to them. So the area is abundant with wildlife pretty much all year round. Jumbo Junction is situated in an expansive 220,000 acre conservancy area, and is adjacent to some of the most revered wildlife photography hotspots in Botswana. Now, the reason why we're going to Jumbo Junction rather than these other ones is because of the intimacy. There's far less people here. And it's just so much more of an intimate experience. It really is. And the team that work at Jumbo Junction, they're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And the management, yeah, they're such good fun, and they're so well. Well, you'll feel like family before you leave. Okay, and then activities that are on offer at Jumbo Junction. So I should have said this whilst we're in going over the Mahadi and Nai area. The majority of the activities in Mahadi and Nai will be vehicle-based. So there'll be 4x4 game drives. There may be an opportunity to go on a short bushwalk, but not too far because it is within a national park. But as I said, the activities at Jumbo Junction, game drives to explore the plains of the Delta, with also the opportunity to do off-roading. Mokoro canoe safaris are also available. Now, Mokoros are traditional canoes in Botswana. They're generally hollowed out from tree trunks. And you'll be guided by specialist polers, and you'll glide silently through lily fields where other boats can't travel. So when you're in Mokoro, you can glide through water 6 inches deep, and the polers can just glide through them effortlessly. You can also do motorized boat safaris during the right season. It's a great opportunity to explore the waterways and familiarize yourself with spectacular aquatic bird life. You can also try fishing whilst you're in the Okavango Delta, fish for tilapia, African pike. There's guided bushwalks as well. So they help you kind of discover and see the nuances of the African bush. I sent GB a video of a bushwalk we did when we were in the Okavango Delta in May. And we had a young male elephant come up to us inquisitively at about 5 or 6 meters, and he was just a bit inquisitive, and then he eventually wandered off and did his own thing. There's also conservation tours, which will help you get a greater understanding into the ecotourism into Botswana, how they work with local communities, to kind of empower them and educate them, not only just giving them employment, but also as well helping them to understand how to live with the wildlife. Because in Botswana, the vast majority of it is unfenced. So you'll have elephants going into crop fields. You'll have lions predating on cattle. They try and work with the local communities to try and mitigate and negate any retaliation in case the wildlife decides to venture into the farmlands. They work with them to encourage the wildlife to move away into to safer areas. Village tours as well can be done, which will introduce you to the vibrant Delta community. So you can hop on a traditional donkey cart to the local village and discover the way that people live and have lived traditionally within the Delta for thousands upon thousands of years. At the right time of year, there's also horse riding. A horse riding safari is it's an interesting experience. You can get much closer to zebra, elephants, antelope on the back of a horse than you can do on a boat or even in a game drive vehicle, and especially on foot. They see and smell the horse rather than you as a person. There's also the opportunity to do helicopter flights over the Delta, which, yeah, they're exhilarating. You'll get a unique perspective. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, basically. And then at the bottom, photography workshops will be on hand to help you with any of your wildlife photography needs, helping with tuition in the field as editing and critique sessions back in camp. Okay, this is an example of the accommodation at Jumbo Junction. It looks a little bit similar to that of the mobile camp, except these are more permanently set up. So you'll have hardwood floors, I should say, not just hardwood. They'll have rugs and carpets in there, comfortable beds, electricity, water, and things like that. On water, important to note, whilst on the mobile camp and also the safari Jumbo Junction, you will be supplied with safe drinking water from bottles. Whilst we're on the mobile safari, they will bring the water with us, and they'll supply drinking water, whether it's in bottles or the more robust, hard metallic water bottles. You just carry those around with you, and tea and coffee, etc. The water's all boiled and safe. So yeah, that's just a note on the water. Everywhere you go, bottled, clean water will be supplied to you. Okay, just an idyllic scene at Jumbo Junction. Sat around a campfire, glass of wine, staring out onto the plains. You never know, elephants could be passing by, could be lions in the plain, anything could be there. Okay. Game drive activities. A shot I got of a leopard in the Okavango earlier this year. Yeah, just more wildlife imagery. Canoeing through the Delta. Just some examples of the bird life as well. Okay. Has the last slide come up?
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, so thank you for that, Alex. I really think that we managed to get together something that's truly spectacular. And there's a couple of things that I wanted also just to kind of mention. The idea with a tented or and mobile safari overall is to get to places and be at places where there is no traffic. There's nobody else that is really sharing this experience with us. So it's quite exclusive. It is open and out in the open, but there are guards from the safari operation. So it is quite safe, although it is exhilarating to see wildlife all around. Obviously, as Alex mentioned, there's no cell phones or phone service, but we of course will have and give out to anybody that joins us our satellite communication.
Well, I'll add to that, because the local supplier and friend of mine that runs the mobile safari outfit, he does have a satellite phone in case of emergencies. So if anything does happen, we've got a satellite phone to call for any assistance that's required. And as part of this package, something is also included which is called Okavango Air Rescue. So if anything unfortunate does happen, we can get you airlifted out of the particular area, whether it's in the Okavango Delta or in Mahadi or Naipan, to a hospital or medical facility.
Right. So we can and I think the kind of point to underline is that we want this to be a little rudimentary and old-fashioned and not be on computers or phones too much. But if you need to get messages back and forth, that is very easy, and we'll have all of that distributed beforehand, so that anybody that needs to reach you while you're on tour, we'll make sure that we facilitate that. And with that, I think maybe we should, if there's any questions, or
there is Wi-Fi. There is Wi-Fi at
What a time to freeze.
yeah, you froze right on that one, Alex. But well, I think what is referring to is that there should be Wi-Fi, some Wi-Fi at least at Jumbo Junction. And yeah, and one thing, so it's not one common tent, so everybody gets their own tent. So you know, you don't have to worry about a large communal tent. This is all tents that are kind of set up as large hotel rooms, essentially, with the running yet manually produced water and restrooms, of course. So, but yeah, any questions, comments?
I'm guessing that the occupancy is based on 2 people.
Yes, but there is single occupancy available as well, and I do. Alex, I think we can actually facilitate up to 4 in some of those tents. Isn't that correct? If there's families that wants to stay together.
What about shots, inoculations in order to get there?
So since there's really 2 access points to Mount, so that's through Ethiopia or through South Africa. I think that we will probably, most of us, prefer the South African route. And since we're coming from the US and via South Africa, there's no yellow fever, so there's no danger of that and no need for inoculation on that. There is a recommendation to have malaria tablets with you, but it's not really the malaria season. So there's actually no inoculation requirements from the government and or any diseases that are prevalent in the area.
So when you talk about photography, I don't have a fancy camera. All I've got is my iPhone.
Yeah.
Does he
It's
work
getting
with
pretty
that?
fancy, actually.
That's what we do.
And that, but Jack, that's not nothing, because actually the new iPhones in particular, they now have a sensitivity settings and the ability to actually capture better pictures if they are adjusted a little bit for this, and especially when it comes to the kind of taking pictures in the light shift, which where you can enhance the colors and the lights a little bit, and we'll of course help with that.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped out. I apologize.
Yep.
You might have. Did you already mention about the tourist visa we got on late? Do you need anything like that?
No, so as long as you have US passports, you have an automatic 3-month visa. There is a requirement to have 3 pages empty in your passports, and the passports need to be valid at least 6 months post your travel. So it's all very easy. The only thing that, just from a logistical perspective, so as we land in the internationally in South Africa, most likely we'll have to go through security there, and then into security for kind of the southern African continent, if you will. So it's a little bit of a kind of a double security to get through there. That does not apply on the way back. So when we come back from Botswana, we kind of run right through and just get into the international check-in in Johannesburg again.
So it sounds like on day one, activities start right away. Is it common for people to want to take a rest day to get some rest if they're flying from the U.S., either in South Africa or somewhere else?
So there's I'd say probably people kind of fly in and deal with it very often. We're on the kind of European time zone, if you will. So it's everybody's going to be jet lagged regardless. I think at least Ivy and I are going to be in Johannesburg at least the day before. So if somebody else wants to join us with that, that's we'll be there and we can arrange for accommodations as needed, and of course advise you on flights if you need. But yeah, that's it's Johannesburg is not a fantastic tourist city, I would say, but there's definitely there's the ability to get a couple of good restaurants and look around a little bit. It's not like it's under siege, but it is a known, a city that has certain challenges in terms of theft and other things. So we kind of want to stay at least together in groups rather than kind of wandering around alone if we're there for an extra night.
Yeah, I mean there's areas within Johannesburg which you can if you're staying in a hotel that night or the night before or for a night, you can arrange for transportation from the hotel to a restaurant and back again, or to a shopping complex if you need to pick anything up and back again. It's all logistically feasible and possible.
And it's just based on my experience for Iceland, the first day was more difficult because of that, and it would have been nice, to have be wide awake and ready to go when the real fun starts.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, Adam, at all. And keep in mind too, this is a lot longer flight, so there are a few different options. So probably the shortest one is the Delta Virgin codeshare flight from Atlanta to Johannesburg. That is, I want to say, the second longest flight in the world, about 16 hours on the plane. And then, but there's options to do Emirates and a number of other companies. Lufthansa is big, but that goes through Europe. So it's a bit, what you wanna do and how you want to do it. We have actually last time we took the family, we did stop a couple of days in London just to kind of get into the time zone, and that was probably a good strategy, but it depends a little bit on how much time anybody has to spend on the tour. But in London, you're essentially on the same time zone as you will be in Botswana, so you can take out the jet lag by the Tower of London and be ready to go once you hit Africa.
GB, I have a couple of questions I'll just put out there and then I'll let you answer. But and I might have missed this at the beginning when I was having some technical difficulties. How many people are going on the trip? And looking at the dates, it's this coming March or the next March. Okay, and then will you offer it again?
So we kind of I think we got a little lucky, wouldn't you say, Alex, with kind of putting this together the way we did it, and this is for this coming March. There are going to be 9 spots available. That's it, and it is limited by the number of people that are allowed by the national park to be in tents. So there is Alex, myself, and I will be there as well. But we have kind of 9 available spots for the tour. It is something we would love to have annually, but it is a very limited time frame that we have to hit the zebra migration correctly.
Yeah. Can I just quickly interject? With that number of people, it might seem not too much of a small group, but we would be having 2 safari vehicles available. So we would have 5 people in one vehicle, 4 people in another, etc. So there's going to be plenty of room for people. It's not going to be going to, for example, the Kruger National Park, where you see these vehicles where people are crammed in like sardines. There's going to be plenty of space.
Are prices posted on the website?
Yes, they are. I want to say it's 12,661 is the price per person in double occupancy, and that does not actually include the international flights. So, but that it does include the 2 flights from Maun, and but not the ones from Johannesburg to Maun or from Maun to Johannesburg. And then it is included in this also are all the activities in Jumbo Junction, except if you want to take the helicopter ride, which is about $300, I think, for the ride, if I remember correctly.
300 or 375.
That's
Yeah.
a bargain compared to Iceland's helicopter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's cheaper fuel.
So
Yeah.
they go onto our website
Right.
and they click the link to see the itinerary. The prices in there,
Okay.
and all the exclusions and
Yeah.
limitations are in there.
So it's it is so it's we once we come to Maun in the afternoon on the first day, and we start the trek into the camp, there is going to be dinner at camp. There's going to be then breakfast, lunch, high tea, and breakfast, lunch, high tea, and dinner every day. All drinks are included, and except for kind of top shelf liquor, but beers and wines and kind of standard liquor is included. Teas, coffees, of course, if as you need, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to buy, and there's no 7-Eleven there. Everything will be provided, so to speak. And as I said, the domestic flights, are there, meaning the Maun flights to and from Maun, but the exclusions are essentially kind of food while you're in Johannesburg, and of course the pre and post nights, however many you have of that. The international flight is not included, and nor is the travel insurance and any other add-ons. But anything, and we can of course help with all of that. But I'm thinking that people may want different routing, and there are, for example, if you so please, you can fly in to Johannesburg in the morning. There should be enough time to get the flight to Maun from there. I'm not gonna take any chances with international flights. I've kind of given up on that post-COVID, but it is what it is. There are 2 flights daily from Johannesburg to Maun, and there so there's routing can be kind of this and that, and if you want to take extra days in Johannesburg, of course, that's on your own.
What about, I guess, luggage? Are we going to be able to check a bag, or is it going to be carry-on only? That works for you guys?
I think we kind of want, if possible, soft-sided luggage. Kind of a medium-sized per person, wouldn't you say, Alex?
Yeah, like soft duffel bags, they're ideal. Soft-sided bags. Obviously, there's no need to pack the kitchen sink. You're going to be on safari, so well, when people sign up for the trip, we can send out a packing list, but generally you'll be able to survive those 11 days. 3 pairs of trousers, 3 shirts, 3 t-shirts, various pairs of socks, sun hat. You don't need much. Light, comfortable clothing. I'd say probably 15, 16 kilos maximum is needed per person. Travel light, you don't need much.
Is there laundry?
Yes, there's laundry.
Yeah.
There is laundry, except on travel days. So when the mobile camp, I'll quickly go over this. The mobile camp, when we move from the Kumaga Mahadi area up to Naipan, as we're driving up there, they are transporting that entire luxury mobile camp and setting it up before we arrive. So yeah, they're completely setting the camp up from scratch again in a completely different area for us.
I don't think you. Oh.
So the day we arrive in Mahadi, if you need washing doing, it'll be there. It'll be done and ready for you for the next day. When we leave Mahadi to drive to Nai, that night there's no washing. But then when we arrive in Naipan, washing is available. And then obviously the last night in Naipan, before we drive back to Maui and into Jumbo Junction, there's no washing. But in Jumbo Junction, there is washing available. Yes, there's laundry available.
And you didn't mention anything about, you mentioned showers, but you didn't say anything about the head.
Yeah. In the mobile camp, it is a long drop, but it is very sanitary. They set up a wooden toilet, and instead of flushing, you put sand over the top of it.
Okay.
And to be honest, there's no odorous scents arising from it. It's very, very hygienic.
But I don't have to walk amongst the lions to use it.
You can if you want, but you'll only do it once.
There's electricity or not?
There is availability on the game drive vehicles in Mahadi on the mobile safari to charge laptops, phones, camera batteries, etc. on the vehicle. Lights whilst you're in the mobile camp, that'll all be done by solar. Okay, so if you do need to charge anything, there are inverters on the game drive vehicles, so we can charge things whilst we're driving around. That's not an issue. Jumbo Junction, there is electricity. There's electricity in the tents as well as in the main areas.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So, it's essentially 4 and 3 nights without kind of plug-in electricity at the beginning and the end, but we have the nights at Jumbo Junction, which has electricity.
So you mentioned we often will start before sunrise and end after sunset. I'm just curious, local time, about how many hours of daylight do you have there?
Usually about 12, 13 hours of daylight. So sunrise will be anywhere between, well, it depends on the time of year. That time of year, sunrise will be about 6 o'clock-ish. So we'll get woken up maybe 5:30. Coffee, tea, rusks, fresh pastries, out on game drive. I like to get out just as the sun is rising because it's the best light for photography.
So roughly 6 to 6.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Alex, I had a question. I may not have heard you, but are shorts acceptable, or should we wear long pants?
Depends how good your legs are.
My legs
Yeah.
are terrific for somebody 100 years old. So-
Yeah, no, shorts are perfectly
Maybe no.
acceptable. Both ladies and gentlemen more than welcome to wear shorts. There's no religious constraints on that at all. The only which reminds me, the only thing that they will not wash for you on the safaris is underwear. So you would have to wash that yourselves. They do provide you with washing powder to do that though.
Thank you.
And what about like ticks and tsetse flies and that sort of thing?
Tsetse flies are one thing I detest immensely in the world. There's not many tsetse flies. There won't be any tsetse flies in Mahadi Hadi, or if there are, they'll be very minimal. Naipan, too dry. Okavango Delta, you might get the odd one. So tsetse flies are a problem. Ticks, you might get some if you go for a bushwalk in the Delta, but it's fine. If you're going for a bushwalk, wear long trousers. Tuck your socks in, tuck your trousers into your socks. Simple as that. You'll be fine. Absolutely fine. You do not get Raynaud's disease or anything like that from the ticks in Africa. The only thing that you might get is tick bite fever, but you'd be very unlucky if you get that. Tick bite fever is a short-lived thing. It's basically like having the worst hangover of your life for about 2 days. But if you tuck your trousers into your socks, you'll be fine. But yeah, ticks won't be a problem.
Go ahead. Can you give me those temperatures in Fahrenheit, GB?
Yeah. So kind of high 60s, low 70s at nighttime. So probably averaging about 68, 69 degrees. And in the daytime, about 82 to 86 would be the average. So fairly pleasant, fairly dry actually, except for the Delta, and shouldn't be any. It's kind of the fall time, if you will. So it is, generally fairly stable weather.
I mean, we might get the odd rain shower, but it won't be anything too drastic or dramatic or serious.
Kind of the very tail end of the rain season. So there might be some, but not, shouldn't be like full rainy days or anything like that.
No, no.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anything that we forgot to mention?
Was there anything I missed when my internet kicked out?
Yeah. So like what we so we have 7 spots left on the tour as of now. We are happy to do a little one-on-ones afterwards if you are thinking about this seriously and just kind of want to go through it in more detail. And because as you know, we like to talk, and that applies to Alex too, and we love our own voices. So and we want to be prepared before you go.
I have one quick question. Did I hear you go horseback riding?
Yeah, if depending on the water levels, it is potential to do horse riding safaris at Jumbo Junction. If you are a seasoned, experienced rider, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of requires you to at least be able to be somewhat confident English style rider to ride there. It's not really kind of the same trails as you're used to from Europe or the US. It's more of an open area group riding. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll shortly send out a copy of we recorded the whole meeting, so I'll send out a copy of that, and see if you want to engage with us separately to talk this through. We intend to or we hope to have kind of the final or everybody in by December 15th is the plan, so that we can make sure that we have everything fully planned out in Africa and everybody ready to receive us. So that's kind of the time frames we're working with, and then of course in the meantime any additional things or planning we have time to do until, of course, we land there on March 7th, right?
Quick question, GB.
March 9th.
Yeah.
When do we leave?
Depends on how many days you want in London or Johannesburg. So
Or Dubai.
yeah, or Dubai. So I think that most of us will leave on the 7th, or we I might leave a little bit before, but 7th will give us the kind of overnight flight to land on the 8th, stay a night over in Johannesburg, and then start the safari itself on the 9th of March.
And logistically speaking, I would probably meet everybody in Maun on the day you arrive.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Ready.
A lot of people are going to be bringing expensive camera equipment. How safe are the, going through the airports and stuff like that?
Oh, perfectly safe. I mean, I travel with expensive equipment as well. I don't check my bag into the international flight. I'll always carry it on. When you arrive in Maun, it's fine. I'll be there waiting for you, as well as the local ground team. Botswana is a very safe country. You'd have to go. Yeah. There's in Maun, I've never heard of any issues for tourists at all. And we'd literally be arriving into Maun. We might need to pick up a few things in Maun, some last minute bits and pieces. We'd be getting on a vehicle and driving straight to Mahadi. In Mahadi, if we see anybody else there, it might be one other vehicle. There won't be any trouble with local people wanting to get hold of you, steal your cameras or anything like that. So it's perfectly fine. The only thing I suggest is take your camera equipment on your carry-on luggage on the international flights. That's the only thing I would say, really. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the things that I think we were very excited about when we were planning all of this is that if we see one or two other trucks where we are in the mobile camps, that's a lot. So there's really not a lot of interaction with anybody, local or foreign, where we are. So the likelihood of anybody, going through what we do, or any likelihood of our possessions being rummaged through or stolen is highly unlikely. I think
And
probably significantly more dangerous.
And the camp staff as well, at both Jumbo Junction and the Mobile Safari, they're trusted employees. If anything untoward happens or anything goes missing, they don't have a job at the end of the day. And it's not as if they can do much with it anyway. So yeah, they're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. So there's absolutely no fears about any of the local staff rummaging through your things or taking anything at all.
And I've heard good things about Botswana. I was more curious about Johannesburg, but just having the expensive stuff on carry-on just makes sense.
Yeah. Just carry it with you, and then it'll be fine in the hotel as well.
I find that Johannesburg is, it's not like you're going to be walking through town. So as long as you're in vehicles and in the airport, things are very controlled and safe. It's just kind of wandering around at night is not recommended.
Is any of the local wildlife going to be featured in at dinner time?
Yeah.
Not stuff that we're actually going to be seeing with our own eyes, but there is potential for venison at dinner one night. And venison doesn't just necessarily mean deer. It could be a species of antelope, could be impala, could be springbok, could be kudu. Not so much warthog.
Although that is a shame. Smoked warthog is one of the best things that you can get.
Yeah, warthog is actually really delicious, and it doesn't taste like pork.
No. So yeah, and I mean, Alice knows this camp himself. My experience generally with the area is extremely fresh, kind of forest to plate produce. If both in terms of proteins as well as in terms of vegan and vegetable.
Yeah, so if anybody does have any dietary requirements as well, both a mobile camp and Jumbo Junction can accommodate for those. Not an issue whatsoever.
So along with the zebra, is there other things like wildebeest and hartebeest and impala and that sort of thing?
Not so much hartebeest, no, but impala definitely. In Mahadi and Nye, potential of, well, probability of seeing springbok, kudu as well, Satunga antelope, as well as red lechwe in the delta, wildebeest definitely around Mahadi and Nye. So there's plenty of game around. It's not just purely the zebra. There's a plethora of wildlife to be seen.
Giraffe, elephants, and of course predators galore.
Any rhino?
No, not so much in Botswana anymore, sadly enough. Various areas of the Okavango Delta did have healthy rhino populations, but unfortunately COVID had a detrimental effect on the rhino populations around the delta, and they were I wouldn't say heavily, I'd say exceedingly poached during COVID. So much so that the last rhino around the delta were relocated purely out of safety reasons for the rhino, unfortunately. There is plans of it to get them eventually reintroduced, but because of COVID and the situation at the time, the rhino poaching just went through the roof. So to protect the species, they moved them out, which is a shame, but just a realistic thing, the realistic view of the way things are, unfortunately, which is unfortunately the way humans are. But we can go into that around the campfire one night.
Right. Okay.
But, yeah, so I think that's it. Unless there's any last call questions, we'll reach out to you all and see what you think, and go from there.
That's good.
Okay, thank you for your time, everybody.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.